Hey guys, Automotive Inquiries here. We're doing a video today adding the Nameless exhaust. That is my favorite inexpensive thing you can add to your Impreza Sport. This is the wagon model, so we get it came in like this. Again, they just do it really well with the build quality of their exhaust, but then we have our exhaust gasket to replace the Subaru one if we have one. Again, some of the exhausts over the past, they'll have a little flange, which you need this to even it up, and then some of them have an exhaust gasket, so we'll check that out. 14 millimeter is what you're going to need. Box and wrench, socket, whatever you want to use. I use just box and wrench just to change them. This guy did come with a couple stickers, which it usually does, but this is the first time it's ever came with a Nameless license plate surround, so that's pretty groovy. And then we have our instructions if you need it, and then handy dandy heavy duty silicone, which these rubber hangers are pretty new, so it's probably going to slip out of there pretty well. And then but I do have a couple screwdrivers handy so we can undo it. A lot of times I'll just reuse the hardware Subaru has, unless it's welded studs, then we'll have to use them, but I just reuse their hardware. And then the reason why I use heavy duty silicones is because this is made to be put on rubbers and plastics. A lot of people will use WD-40, which is fine, but anything that like WD-40 that's made from predominantly metal has petroleum distillates in it, and what that can do, it will eat rubber and plastic. So you know, if you're only going to put them on there once and take them off once, and you don't care about it, you can spray WD-40, but to be honest with you, this is something that every guy should have in his garage, every guy or gal if you're working on anything, because silicone can be used on like your furniture. When it comes to your sliding parts, it can be used on hinges, it can be used on door locks. And what you'll notice about WD-40 is it will attract and hold dust, and again, it will eat rubber pieces, so I would just be real careful with that. So over here's the box it came in, wrapped superbly. Now you can upgrade to a quad exhaust on this hatchback, which I think is really sweet. But because it's my kid's car, we're going to go with the standard exhaust, which this one was like $279. And the quad exhaust is $699 because we don't want it to be too loud. We always get it with a muffler variant. So this one's just the standard one with the 5-inch muffler. And I'll fire it up and let you kind of hear it. It's non-existent when it comes to sound with a stock exhaust. I have a decibel reader, and it runs around 70 to 80 decibel inside the car with the stock exhaust on just whatever surface. The only thing I am concerned about this one was we're gonna fire it up here. We're just real quick, and then I'm basically gonna climb under it, show you guys where you're gonna have to take off, spray the lubricant, and then I'm just going to take it off, and then when we come back on the next video, it's going to be installed, and we'll talk about the interior decibel and the sound and whatnot. But this is the stock sound. So it's super quiet in here. These were just recognized by, I think, Consumer Reports for having the Legacy and the Impreza had the quietest interiors, so that's kind of nice. We're going to change that. Right now there's a little bit of drone. Now this being the wagon, I am a little bit concerned about the overall drone, and that's why we did look at getting the quad exhaust, because it would bring the exhaust out behind the bumper, and this one is going to be underneath where the current one is, and I'm hoping that doesn't really drone too much. So let's get under here real quick. So you can see right here, these are where the nuts and bolts are going to be. We're going to reuse that. I don't see a gasket in there, so as long as there's no flange here, we could just sandwich the metal together. If there is a flange where it keeps the high point on the new exhaust, we'll put the flange in here. But 14, you're going to spin that off, and done. You're going to spray your silicone, whatever, to release here, and then it should just slide off because they're so new. But if they've been around there for a while, this is where you're going to use your flat blade screwdriver and just kind of pry it off. You don't need to take it off both sides, but what I find is you can put your screwdriver in here or whatever, just use it to kind of pry back. But we're going to do that. But you can kind of see it's pretty quiet. I mean, it's not by any means loud. There's one more hanger over here, and then this big heavy muffler is going to come off. And then what we'll do is the silicone dries, but it will stay lubricated just enough that we can slide the new one in here and hang it up and get it mounted. But as long as it's newer, I mean, you're going to do it, and then you'll want to make sure it's obviously cool. This one's running, but it's not that hot. So again, very, very happy with the Nameless exhaust. I'm really hoping it doesn't drone too bad in this wagon, because in the other cars that we've had, they've all been sedans. So the exhaust itself is basically muffled by having the trunk. Whoops. So I'm gonna get this new exhaust put on here, and then we'll fire it up. We'll get the sound. We'll do some revving up for you. But this is one of the least expensive, and right now with COVID, they're a little backlogged, so we ordered it. Took about a month, but they kept in good touch with me in getting it done. And you just really can't beat the overall quality of the welds and the stainless, the T304 stainless. So no chrome tip on this guy, because there is no, you can't see it. But if you did get the quad exhaust with or without the mufflers, it would stick out, and I think it would look phenomenal. But just not gonna spend $699, although that is still better than most boreless systems that you can get that are real basic like this. So I still think it's a great deal. That's just not where we're going right now. So we're gonna get this guy on there, and we'll see you in step 2, guys. Thanks for watching.